Good morning. So, in today's episode, I've decided I'm going to approach it slightly different. So, the biggest change will be we won't go through every single possible auction, which is due today. This is the Friday. Today is the Friday, 12th of April. On Fridays, there is a lot of cars. As far as I remember, down to my filters, there is over 1,000 cars auctioned today in the UK only. So I've done all the legwork and I've already filtered down what I think is either the best deals or they might potentially be the best deals or what's the most interesting cars available today. So sit down, grab a coffee, let's go through them. So my first choice for today would be this Audi A4. This is 2020 black Audi in a 2-liter diesel. I mean, it's not the highest spec. Since Technic, it's usually not the highest spec, but it's still fairly good spec'd up. So you've got a digital dashboard, auto gearbox, not leather, but partially electric seats, which is nice. Now, damage-wise, as we can see, there is a little bit of scratch over here, which nothing which can be addressed as it is without replacing any parts, which is nice. I would probably think this might cost about £250 in a spray, since we'll have to spray the partially wing blended in on the bumper. So probably 250 in a decent garage should be enough. Now on the right side, we've got a little bit more damage, but again, nothing which is, I would say, extreme. So what we could do is replace the wing, because the wing definitely needs to be replaced. I would replace the bonnet as well, although might be fixable, but usually the filler on the edge of the panels doesn't work very well. Sometimes it's cracking. I would say replace the whole bonnet if you want to use it for yourself, even if you want to sell it. It's just gonna work out better in the future. Then we have a side mirror, which definitely needs to be replaced and then resprayed. Going further, we've got the biggest damage. So what I would suggest over here, since the tailgate doesn't look really damaged, although there is a little bit of scuff on the paint, it's not damaged, bent, so that's good. It would need brand new bumper and the quarter panel plus possibly a door, although it doesn't look like the door is dented. There is a gap a little bit, but the gap obviously is down to damage. So the nice quarter panel plus the rear light should sort it all out. I would really be surprised if the whole repair of that car or that corner, well, probably for a quarter, depending on where you're going to get it from. If you're going to get it from a dealer, it's hard to say. The plastics over here are also not the best shape. So this is the ventilation for a car. Probably this corner on its own going to cost you about a couple of £1,000 to get it fixed, maybe 2.2k, depending on the price you get for a rear bumper. Usually, rear bumper will cost you in the region of 400-500 quid as a second-hand complete bumper. I always suggest getting the genuine parts rather than cheap knockoffs and getting brand new. I would say if you've got a choice between a cheap Chinese part and second-hand original, get the original part. It's just so much easier to line it up and work with. I would suggest it will need spraying anyway. Get the original part and it just saves you in the future. It's so much easier, so much easier. Then the quarter panel. You can get a second-hand cut quarter panel for about probably £1,000, maybe less if you've got a decent deal. You'll need some body work, you need some spraying, but overall, I would say this is a fairly good deal. On the left corner, you've got some scratches, which doesn't look really massive. Nothing I would be worried about. Mirror is intact. The car is run and drive, which is always nice. 46,000 miles at this moment in time is 4.1k. I would, if I'll bid on this car, I would probably go somewhere about 5k maybe. I would bid slightly above 5k, maybe 5.5k. And then probably before you're gonna get it fixed, it'll cost you about in the region £8,000-9,000 for 2020. This is not bad. Audis, BMWs, Mercedes. Usually the value is over what it's supposed to be, but since they are popular and good cars, it doesn't look like suspension's damaged over here as well, which is always good. So yeah, that's the first choice, Audi A4 2020. A little bit to repair, but not airbag deployed, so that's good. Few errors, as you would expect, nothing significant. I obviously didn't check the mileage on it. If this is genuine, I didn't check any other details. I'm just looking purely based on the photos. So yeah, this seems to be a good deal. The next one, the Hyundai Kona. So this is a fully electric car, 55,000 run and drive as well, which is brilliant. 69 plate. Car is 2019, so 4-year-old car, 5-year-old. The difference in this car against the others is, first of all, it's a VAT which has to be applied on top of it. So if you bid £4,000, you have to put another 20% and then all the fees. So if you have to be really careful with that, because if you're going to bid 4 grand over here, you might easily end up with the 6K to be paid. So bidding on the car like that, be careful, because obviously it piles up really quickly. Overall, you've got two versions of the Hyundai's car like that. So you've got a small battery and big battery. I didn't check which one is that, but the damage is so small. You've got just the rear bumper, which needs to be completely repaired. Well, in this situation, replaced, not repaired. And then the tailgate. There is no airbag deployed. Car is run and drive, which is brilliant. It's, if this is a big battery, you've got quite a decent range. So if you in the market for electric car, I would suggest this might be a good deal. There is no visible damage underneath the car, which is great. It just overall seems to be like a fair deal. New tire, new bumper, new tailgate, spraying it. Obviously, then you're risking that the floor might be damaged in the tailgate area, but it doesn't look like there is any damages. If there is, you can buy a pan, which is the panel inside, get it re-welded. I would suggest probably getting a brand new panel from a Hyundai, get it re-welded, resprayed, and then you've got a really nice car for a fraction of the price. You know, it's been over 16 grand paid off for it. I would be surprised if that car fixed would cost more than seven and a half, maybe 8K. So yeah, Hyundai Kona, it's the second one I would suggest to consider. Premium version, which means it's nicely spec'd up, full leather, electric seats. Yeah, nice car. Okay, the third car today, it's Ford Puma. So they're getting really popular, although I'm not the big fan of the new shape. You know, the old one, the sporty one was so much nicer in my opinion, but whatever you like. So the car has obviously damage to the front, as you can see, although not significant. So it doesn't look like the bonnet is damaged. You've got gaps which are completely out. So I would consider that the bonnet might be damaged. If not bonnet, it'll be wings. If not wings, it will be bonnet hinges. The damages like that might be really trickier, because you're looking at it in the first place thinking, oh well, it's not that really damaged, you know, I might put a new bumper on it, it'll be fine. But then you'll see the gaps being off, then you might see the plastics being cracked. You know, you have to be careful with the stuff like that. The car doesn't look like it's damaged massively. It's 2020, 28,000 miles and run and drive, which is brilliant. 1 litre petrol, not brilliant, because they are EcoBoost engines, so they have some history with the timing belt. Well, wet timing belt, which can cause issues. Apart from that, seems to be a quite a decent car. At this moment in time, 2,300. I would expect this will go in the region of £5,000. £14,000 paid off. Probably about a couple of grand to get it all together. Maybe 3 grand. Below 8K, you've got a really decent car with close to non-mileage. 28,000 miles is nothing. So yeah, decent car. Again, no airbags deployed, which is always fantastic. Rear light needs to be replaced, probably 300 quid tops, and then some small scratches. So yeah, that's our next car, the Ford Puma 2020. Okay, let's move on to another one, and yeah, this is my favorite. So Volkswagen Tiguan 2022, so fairly fresh car, 1.5 turbo petrol TSI, really good motors, 7-speed auto, DSG gearbox, 12,000 miles, which is close to none. Engine starts, it doesn't drive. Now, why it doesn't drive? We can see straight away there is something wrong with the suspension on this side. Obviously, I never advise buying an auto gearbox with the wheel damage, because usually what you see that you have an issues with the gearbox. Just thinking if this is just down to a perspective of how photos were taken, but we'll go through it. I didn't look through it that deeply, so okay. So the first visual damage over here is the front bumper. The front bumper needs to be replaced completely. It's cracked over here. The wing needs to be replaced. The mirror, both doors need to be replaced. Yeah, the bumper is completely destroyed. Although sometimes in a situation like that, what you can find is you can get just the shell, probably replace the whole thing rather than mess about with it, since it's just it's usually doesn't end up very well. Usually you ended up with a situation where the plastic scratched, it doesn't look right. Just get the whole thing replaced. Looking at the headlight, you see this is LED, full LED headlights, which you have to be extremely cautious about, because they are extremely expensive to replace. They can be, they not always are, but they can be. So the rear, no damage to the right side, which is good, and the left side. So clearly you can see the car being damaged on this side and slide along it, plus a little bit of damage to the right corner. So coming to this corner, we've got the rear bumper, which probably I would repair. But then again, you've got the tailgate, which needs to be replaced. Bare tailgate, you don't need any lights because the light on the tailgate is fine. Then bumper may be repairable, but something to consider. The trim, the chrome trim needs to be replaced. Quarter panel. Now, depending on what sort of garage you're using, this could be repairable or replaceable. Panels like that can't be replaced. It's safe. It's just the outer shell. You're buying it from a dealer. It's getting rewelded, redressed, and there is no sign that anything been done to it. So if you've got a decent garage, you can sleep well. There is literally no worries about replacing the panels like that whatsoever. Then you've got the both doors. I would definitely replace those as a complete unit and then transfer the glasses from this car back to the new door we've got, just to keep every single window from the same year. What that gives you is the even worn out across all the windows. So if you're going to buy a door with a window with the glass, which is from 2019, and it's still going to fit that car, you basically can end up with the scratches and, the windows are intact. Why not transfer them? They're basically just, bolt-on repair, so why not? Inside, there is no airbags deployed, which is fine. It's not a really highly spec'd up car, you've got just a bare cloth interior, you've got TSI engine, which I personally like, but it's not for everybody. You don't have a digital dash, so it's box standard, but it's still fairly decent deal, I think. At this moment in time, it's only 1,200 quid, but no chance they're gonna sell below 8 grade. I would be surprised if they'll go below 8k. It might do, but I'd be really surprised. And now what I've noticed is, look at that. So you can see straight away, this is a front right wheel, and then looking over here, this is the left one. Now, what you can notice is this wheel is straight, this wheel is turned right, which means there is a suspension damage on it, which I would consider this is the reason why this is engine start, not run and drive, because obviously the suspension is damaged. There might be a possible DSG damage, which I would probably consider it needs replacing straight away when buying it. So put it in your cost, in potential cost, and rather than be surprised, with the bad surprise, have a good surprise, thinking that if the gearbox is fine, you saved up a lot of money. So yeah, that's the Tiguan. Let's move on to the next one, and this is a Japanese Mazda 3. It's fairly new shape, 2020, 26,000 miles, 2-liter petrol. So this is, I believe, is still Sky Active technology. Really nice motors, especially petrol diesels initially from 2013 and above. They were a little bit funny. That were 2.2 capacity from then when they revised some issues with the shafts. They were fairly decent motors. So this is a run and drive, which is brilliant. On the front, no visible damage, nice white color, and then some damage on the rear. You can tell straight away there's someone been dismantling this car, so you got a little bit of damage to the quarter, which I would suggest just getting repaired rather than replaced. There's no point messing about with the structural integrity of a car if you can just get it repaired. And then I put brand new bumper on it. The tailgate doesn't seem like it's damaged, which might end up with really, really easy repair. Just whack a new bumper on it, and you're ready to go. Interior, you've got no airbag damages. Cloth interior, manual gearbox, really, really nice car. I would really consider that. From errors, you've got tire inflation error, which is standard during an accident. Even if you don't have a flat tire, you can just get it. You can just get that error. Well, this is a piano black for you, 2020, and look at those scratches. I'll probably replace that or get it buffed up because it just looks horrible for a 2020 car with a 26,000 miles. This looks awful. Okay, and again, VAT will be applied to this sale. So you need to take into consideration while buying this car, you have to put an extra 20% on top of your price. But overall, seems to be potentially a good deal for a nice car. You have to take into consideration 2-litre motor in those cars going to cost you more on insurance. Apart from that, great looking car. Okay, and the next one, another Mazda MX-5. Now, this is not for everybody, which I do understand. 2018, so a little bit older, run and drive 31,000 miles. While the mileage is so low, well, this is not a day-to-day car for most of the people. 1.5 petrol, manual, which is quite good in the cars like that. Usually they're not expected to come in an auto, as this is a sort of a fun car. So let's have a look at it. So front, not much of a damage on the front. Probably you can expect the normal wear and tear. 2018, so you're looking at a 6-year-old car. Now looking at the rear, what have we got over here? Tailgate needs to be replaced and the bumper needs to be replaced as well. Maybe potentially the exhaust. The wheel doesn't look square to me. So something to look at if there is a potential damage to the suspension. Apart from that, the quarter panel doesn't seem to be damaged, which is great. This is a convertible, so you want to be sure, we want to make sure that that is replaced, not repaired, because obviously this is a moving part while the roof is folding. You want to make sure that everything works great over there. On the left side, again, doesn't look like the quarter panel is damaged. Let's put it. Yeah, the quarter panel is not damaged. The tail light needs to be replaced, then a bumper, new tailgate, and potentially you need to take into consideration you'll have to look at the mechanism for a roof. Hopefully it's not damaged, but you have to take into consideration it might be. Standard manual, cloth interior, so not really high spec up, but still a decent car, and I definitely would consider, especially there is no airbag deployed. It's run and drive. Yeah, seems to be a nice car. There's something going on over here. Yeah, the bottom grille is definitely gone. Needs to be replaced. Now the question is, if there is a coolant. Have we got a coolant anywhere over here? What I would always suggest, if you get damage to the front, try to find the coolant tank and see if it's leaking over here. This is the coolant tank, so we won't be able to see if the radiator still holds. I would consider the radiator pack needs to be replaced. This is about 250 pounds just to get a brand new radiator pack. It's that sort of a car. You want to make sure that the coolant is working great, so even if it's dented, I would replace it, which still makes it a fairly good deal. I would still consider, definitely would still consider buying that car. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so what have we got over here? 2020 Nissan Juke Techna. So Techna is usually highly spec'd up. 46,000 miles, which is quite high for a 2020, but then again, overall it's only 46,000 miles. You've got 1-litre turbo petrol. This is a new motor as far as I'm I'm aware for a Nissan. Damage-wise, it's cut N, which is good. Damage is to the side, so you can see the front is fairly alright. This is the damage we've got, so close to no damage at all. Yeah, you'll need a new door, you'll need a new wing mirror, but the quarter panel looks fine, the bumper looks fine, so the front is fine. The other side looks good, the rear looks good. Okay, that's where we've got the damage. I would suggest probably replacing both door, the mirror. Suspension doesn't look damaged, but consider it might be. And then just get them resprayed and you'll have a really nice car. It's highly spec'd up. We've got the Bose speakers. I always were interested in how those speakers perform. I never had the chance to actually try them on. I managed to have a quick ride and quick drive in a Juke like that in the new shape, which is a really nice car. But never tried this Bose speakers. Really curious about that. But yeah, overall really nice clean car, run and drive, so you can easily just jump into it and drive it. Okay, so what you have to consider is this is a blind spot monitor car, which means that the mirror will have some extra sensors and might cost the mirror might cost you extra. Apart from that, still a nice car. 2.8k VAT to be applied to this sale. You see, lately we see a lot of those. You see, back in the day I couldn't find so many of VAT will be applied sales, but seems to be a new thing now. We're getting really close to the last 5 cars, which are the extremely premium cars. So, okay, Nissan, good deal worth 11.6k from insurance point of view at this moment in time, 2.8k plus VAT. So you're already looking at about probably 4k if you'll win it at this current price. Okay, so the last one from a standard day-to-day cars, the Nissan Arona FR 2021, 21,000 miles on it, run and drive, 1 liter manual. So this car has really tiny damages to it, and I've only put it over here as a sort of a warning because I've bought Seat Arona exactly like that, just a different color. Mine were 1.6 TDI with a DSG gearbox, and it looked exactly the same as this one. So really nice car, no visible damage to it. And then what I've done, I've bought it because I weren't cautious. What happened is with this car, when it landed, there were 2 scratches, but the gearbox had a massive whine on it, but it was still considered as a run and drive. Tried to talk to Copart about returning it. Copart did not accept it because they're giving you only 24 hours from a delivery, and I was screwed. So I had to send over the gearbox for refurbishment. I paid a lot of money to get that DSG rebuilt. It was working great after, but in terms of profit, there were no profit to it whatsoever. And I would be very careful with the cars which look like too good to be true, because my Seat Arona were exactly like that, tiny damages, and I thought I've got myself a bargain. I think I paid like 11k for it, and I ended up with close to zero profit on it. So yeah, it's a very nice car, don't get me wrong, but be careful with the deals like that, because a deal like that might land you in a whole lot of trouble. You've got 3.3k at this moment in time, nearly 15k paid off from insurance, run and drive, but be careful with the cars which are looking too good. Okay, so the first car from a premium range today is this Audi A7 2023. Only 11,000 miles on it, paid up nearly 40k from insurance, 2-liter auto petrol. So not usually very sought after version, because usually they go in TDIs or some ridiculous versions like S7, RS7, but overall still a very good looking car. And I would definitely consider buying it. This is a run and drive car, which is great. So no damage to the front, lovely. So we can see straight away this is not highly spec'd up car because there is no visible radars on the bumper. Usually what you see over here, you see some sort of like black boxes which are radars for it. We've got none of those. I'm not sure about those headlights. Definitely full LEDs. I don't know if the matrix headlight. Not sure about that, but still very, very good looking car. Four-door version, A7. So yeah, nice. Again, no damage to the front. You can see it's a quattro version, which means four-wheel drive, which again raises some question in terms of damage. But the front is clear. Now this is where is the damage. I mean, it might look awful, but it's not. Tailgate not damaged at all, so you don't have to replace that. The gap is still intact. The bumper, you're just whacking a brand new bumper on it, and then you're sound. The last thing you have to consider is the quarter panel. You can, in this situation, seeing that there is some damage to the metal underneath, I would suggest getting either the second-hand quarter panel, which is cut out, or get a few panels from underneath, plus the outside shell from Audi itself. Is it worth it? Well, considering at this moment in time the car costs 9.7k with the VAT, which means 12, probably 13k. If that will go for even 18,000 pound, and you're going to spend on the panels over here another 4k from Audi, you probably still get a 60% of the retail value. So I would suggest, yeah, definitely is worth it. This is a 2-liter TFSIe engine, which is a mild hybrid, which is also nice. And yeah, definitely might be a potentially great deal for someone to get a premium car for a none. A little bit of damage on the exhaust, probably repairable, but might be worth to consider replacing that silencer. Really great looking car inside. Also something to consider that Audi is usually raising a really high prices on the auctions because these German cars are really sought after. People do like them, and they tend to overbid and overprice them while they bid it. So, but yeah, I would suggest consider if it's inside of your budget, if it's something you've been looking for. Definitely a very nice looking car. Needs further inspecting in terms of checking if the MOTs and everything. Well, to be honest, it's not even past due for its MOT. So yeah, very good looking car. Very good looking car. Okay, let's move to a little bit more expensive range. So the next one, a little bit older car, 10-year-old car, 2014 DB9 V12 Aston Martin. It's a run and drive car with only 33,000 miles, which I would definitely go into it and see if that's the case, because you need to be careful with the cars like that. This is not easily sellable car. Maybe if you're thinking about getting it for yourself, then yes, but it's not easily sellable car. So beautiful looking V12 version, amazing, close to no damage. It says it's an N, minor dents and scratches, which, considering that it doesn't look like it's damaged anywhere, I would think that either there is some mechanical issue with it which someone is trying to cover up by trying to write it off for insurance, or this is genuine, someone just reported it, that it had few scratches done by someone, and down to a value of a repair someone said, okay, well, I'd rather write it off. I'm a little bit cautious with stuff like that, but overall it's still very interesting find, very interesting car to bid. It's already 23.5k, but nearly 60k paid off from insurance. So very good looking car, and although very old and the interior doesn't age very well, it's still a massive part of a British history if it comes to cars. And this is a convertible as well, which is just a great looking car. So yeah, first of Aston Martins we're reviewing today. Great looking car. Okay, another one. 2015 Aston Martin Vanquish. So this is a V12 version as well. As far as I'm aware, there were also V8 version, but this is a V12, which is amazing. The car does not run. Why it doesn't run? Because it were flooded. So the cars like that have to be extremely worth to consider. Why? Because water is just awful to repair. First of all, you will have a lot of mold inside. Second of all, electrical issues which can be caused by water somewhere inside can show up after a year, 2 years, 5 years, because the corrosion only happens during a time of use, so you have to be careful with a car like that. Another issue with it is the motor. So when the water goes into the cylinders, you've got 12 of those over here, water is not compressible. So when the motor goes up, basically destroys the motor. You can get it like properly locked in a war scenario. You need a brand new motor. The motors on those are not cheap. So be careful. £25,000, 83k paid off from insurance, only 30,000 miles. Definitely, potentially a good project. But if you don't know what's the water line on it and you know already that it does not run, that I would suggest consider that the motor needs to be replaced. The good sign on it is that you can see the car were clearly detailed, and that means the car were well taken care of. This is nearly 10-year-old car, so it does make a massive difference if we're well maintained during whoever owned it. So I would really, really, really suggest be careful, but maybe consider as a big project and consider the motor needs to be rebuilt or replaced potentially. Okay, so now we're the second Aston Martin today, second premium luxury car now. Okay, we're moving on to Porsche. So what we've got here is the 2023 Porsche Taycan 4S. Extremely good looking car in my opinion. I love those Taycans. Maybe not in this color, although it's still very, very good looking. I'll probably go for a baby blue with the wide wheels. Just getting a standard choice. But this is a fully electric car, 4,600 miles, 74,000 pounds paid off. This is no run car, and I would suggest to be extremely careful with those as well. Electric cars are not easy to repair. Not for a day-to-day garage, they're not. So I know, because we've got one in the garage right now, it's nowhere near as nice as this one because it's only Skoda ENIAC, but it's been there for a year because of the battery issues and some issues with the charging port. So just be careful. Damage to the front, which is clearly visible. It needs brand new bumper. It needs maybe a wing, definitely a headlight, definitely need a radiator on the left. Apart from that, it does not look like a bonnet. Definitely need a new bonnet, but it does not look like there is plenty of damage on it. It just looks amazing. It looks amazing. I would probably risk it, although you've got the airbags deployed, and this might be the main reason why the car does not run, because some of the cars have safety devices to block the motor from starting when the airbag deploy. So you don't risk any sort of a fire hazard, especially with electric cars. You've got the batteries which might potentially explode. You don't want that. In terms of the parts, I would replace the front crash bar, although it doesn't look like it's massively damaged. It's a crash bar, so it's designed to take a damage. It took some damage over here for safety reasons. I would replace it definitely for a genuine brand new part. This is like a no-go for me to go to like cheap Chinese parts, regardless of the value of the car. You're replacing that with a genuine part. Radiator, if you'll find one, headlight, new bumper, and new bonnet. I think that wing could be repairable. If there is a damage to it, it could be repairable. Yeah, definitely some plastics over here missing. So what I would suggest you'll have in a bumper is some sort of an air deflector or air tunnel, which will be going to the radiator, covering like a shroud, so might need to be replaced. You definitely will struggle to get a second-hand part for this car, but I would definitely look for them. It doesn't look like a charging port is being damaged. And the interesting thing in this car is exactly the same as Audi e-tron. You've got charging port on two sides. So if you really want to be dodgy or have a problem with fixing it, you can always just forget about the one charging port and use the other one. It's not brilliant, it's not ideal, but if you're keeping it for yourself and you had issues with fixing it, for the time being, you can always use the second port, which is, in my opinion, amazing feature. So beautiful car with not a lot of damage. As far as I'm usually not a big fan of deployed airbags, I would consider this car just getting brand new original dashboard, brand new airbag, get the airbag system repaired properly by replacing with genuine parts and then just keep it for myself because this is an amazing looking car. But it will fetch a massive price as well, down to the fact that the damage is not that severe. Again, you've got a knee airbag which is deployed, but I would not be worried about that. Beautiful looking car. Okay, so that's the Porsche, and the very last car for today, and it's already due an auction, is the Bentley Continental. It's a 2021 Bentley Continental, which fetched 128,000, close to 128,000 pounds from an insurance company, only 6,700 miles, run and drive, nearly 50k already bid. It's a 4-litre V8. As far as I'm aware, it's a turbo motor, but to be honest, I'm not that massive in terms of knowledge about the Bentleys. So beautiful combination of the colors. You've got potentially carbon fiber bonnet with a nice ivory color, cream ivory color. Not visible damage to the outside, which is great. A very interesting color combination inside. You've got sort of a maroon, maybe beige leather with a white interior. Beautiful, beautiful car. But you can see already over here, you've got some carpets missing. Now the question is, why someone would do that? Why someone will get rid of the carpet and start messing about with that? You don't have any errors, any massive errors, which I would be concerned over. But this is very interesting. Why someone would do that? Definitely something worth to consider. You will have to definitely get the parts from Bentley in terms of replacing the carpet, because let's consider the carpet is not there. Go to Bentley, probably cost you like 5k or something ridiculous because it's a Bentley. So, but it's still, I would consider. Look at that carpet. Carpet is color matched as well, so you'll have to get a new carpet as well from Bentley. Now, with the cars like that, what you have to be careful with is things like that. So scratches on the dash. You can see straight away the corner over here is chipped. You know, replacing stuff like that is not easy. This is all bespoke parts. This is not a part you can get off the shelf. You won't find the color combination like that. And if you're buying it, take into consideration, it will cost you a lot to repair. But again, you might get yourself a Bentley in the price of a brand new Audi A4 or Audi A6. Might be tempting. Very good car. Very nice looking car. Okay, so that's it for today. I'll try to improve a little bit the quality of those videos and maybe get them a little bit shorter, but thank you very much for watching and subscribe if you want to. See you next time.